Here is an even deeper, richer, more detailed explanation of the reconquest of the Doab, written in the simplest language possible, step by step, like telling a vivid and powerful story.
Settings.
What was the Doab? The Doab is the land between two rivers, the Ganga River and the Yamuna River. This area is very fertile, meaning crops grow well there. It is very important because it has many rich towns and trade routes. Today, the Doab is part of Uttar Pradesh in North India. Who was ruling at the time? Who was Iltutmish? Iltutmish was a powerful Muslim ruler from the Mamluk slave dynasty. He ruled from Delhi and his empire was called the Delhi Sultanate. He was a Turk, meaning he came from Central Asia. He was not born a king. He was once a slave, but he became the Sultan king through talent and bravery. He tried to bring many parts of North India under his control. Trouble begins. Weakness in Delhi. What happened to Iltutmish's control? Iltutmish had a big problem at home. His own Turkish guards started rebelling. He became busy and distracted by this internal fighting. During this chaos, he could not look after faraway regions like the Doab. Local uprisings begin. People take advantage. What did the local rulers do? Seeing that the Sultan was weak, the Indian rulers and people in Doab saw a golden opportunity. They thought, this is our chance to be free again. So, they rose in revolt and kicked out the Turkish armies. Which areas became free? Important places like Badaun, Kanauj, Banaras, Katihar, now called Rohilkhand, Bahraich Awad, now around Lucknow. All these areas declared independence. They removed the Turkish soldiers and broke their connection with Delhi. Iltutmish recovers. Time to reconquer. What did Iltutmish do next? Once he regained control over Delhi, Iltutmish said, now I must take back all the land we lost. Where did he attack first? He started with Badaun, Ganaras. He defeated the local rulers and recaptured these cities. Next, he went to Katihar, where the capital was Ahichatra, now Amla. His army fought and won this area too. Then he sent an army to Bahraich, north of the Gagra River. Bahraich also surrendered and became part of the Delhi Sultanate again. Trouble in Awadh, strong local resistance. What about Awadh? Awadh was not easy to control. Even after the Delhi army entered, the local tribes did not give up. Iltutmish appointed his eldest son, Nasiruddin Mahmud, as governor of the region. Mahmud had to fight constantly. The people kept resisting Turkish rule. A brave hero emerges, Chief Perthu. Who was Perthu? Perthu, also called Batu, was the chief of the resisting Indian tribes in Awadh. He was very brave, strong, and a great fighter. What did he do? He defeated the Turkish armies many times. He is believed to have killed around 1,020,000 Turkish soldiers in battle, though this number may be exaggerated. His people were defending their land, freedom, and religion. He fought so strongly that the Turks could not fully control the region. What happened after? The area could only be fully captured after Perthu died. His death was the turning point, and Delhi was able to take over. Other campaigns by Iltutmish. Iltutmish also sent his army to Chandawa in western UP. He likely conquered it. Tirhut, he sent an army to Tirhut in Bihar, but Tirhut seems to have resisted and was not captured.
Final thoughts.
What this all means. What can we learn from this? 1. The people of North India, especially the Doab, were brave and strong-willed. 2. When they saw that the Delhi Sultan was weak, they did not hesitate to fight back and become independent. 3. Iltutmish was a strong ruler, but he had to fight hard battles to take back the land. 4. Some areas were easy to capture, but others, like Awadh, gave fierce resistance, especially because of leaders like Perthu. 5. The fight between foreign rulers, Turks and local Indian powers was constant, full of war, bravery and sacrifices. Timeline of events, simplified. Time event, what happened? Iltutmish is weak. His own Turkish guards rebel. Local rulers rise, Doab areas become free. Key areas break away, Badaun, Kanauj, Banaras, Katehar, Barach, Awad. Iltutmish recovers, retakes Badaun. Kanauj, Banaras, more battles, captures Katehar and Barach. Hardest struggle. Awad resists under Chief Perthu. Perthu dies. Area finally comes under control. Extra campaigns. Chandawar may be captured, Tirhut not. If you want, I can now turn this into a short story version, a comic-style explanation, a kid-style picture book summary, or add a map visuals. Would you like any of these formats too? Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, detailed summary of the entire explanation, written in the simplest and clearest way possible, with extra meaning and background added to help you understand everything like a complete beginner. Summary of Iltutmish's death, character, and achievements. Death of Iltutmish. Iltutmish became seriously ill during a military campaign, a kind of war journey, against a place or group called Banian. Because he was too sick, he stopped the campaign and returned to Delhi, the capital city. Even though many doctors, called physicians back then, tried to help him, they could not cure him. He died in April 1236, after ruling for many years. Who was Iltutmish? Iltutmish was a Turkish slave in the beginning, and not just any slave, but a slave of a slave. He had no power, no family name, but through bravery, intelligence, and hard work, he rose to become the Sultan of Delhi. He ruled for about 25 years and turned a small, weak state into a powerful kingdom in North India. His personal qualities. Iltutmish was brave. He was not afraid of danger. Careful. He did not act without thinking. This is called being cautious. Smart and wise. He had sagacity, meaning he could make good decisions in hard situations. Balanced. He was not extreme or harsh. He believed in moderation. Far-sighted. He had foresight, meaning he could see what might happen in the future and plan accordingly. These qualities made him a strong and respected leader. His achievements, what he did as a king. 1. Built his kingdom without help. His teacher and master, Kutubuddin Aybak, had the support of a big empire. But Iltutmish had no outside support. He started from nothing. Still, he managed to build a powerful and organized kingdom. 2. Finished what Kutubuddin started. Kutubuddin died early, so his work of building a kingdom was left unfinished. Iltutmish took over and completed the job, making the Delhi Sultanate stronger. 3. Recovered lost lands. He won back areas that had been conquered earlier by Muhammad of Ghur, but were later lost. These included parts of Hindustan, Rajputana, now Rajasthan, and northern Uttar Pradesh. He also recovered Multan and Sindh, which had been lost under Kutubuddin's rule. 4. Protected India from Mongols. The Mongols were the most dangerous warriors of that time. They had destroyed many big kingdoms in Central Asia. Iltutmish used clever diplomacy and strategy to keep them away from India, saving his kingdom from destruction. 5. Controlled rival Turkish leaders. Many other Turkish leaders in India didn't want to follow Iltutmish. He used both force and authority to make them obey and accept him as sultan. 6. Created a strong military monarchy. Iltutmish built a ruling system where the king had full control, especially using the army. This style of rule later became even stricter under the Khalji dynasty, but he was the one who started it. He laid the foundation for future rulers of Delhi. Why Iltutmish was so special? He rose from the very bottom, from a slave of a slave, to become a great king. He didn't inherit anything. He didn't have a big army or money to start with. Every victory, every land, every success he achieved was because of his own effort. He didn't just win battles. He built a system of rule, a strong government, and a secure kingdom. His rule helped shape the Delhi Sultanate, which lasted for many more generations after him. In short, why Iltutmish matters. Started with nothing, became a great king. protected India from outside threats like the Mongols, expanded and secured the kingdom, was wise, brave, and balanced, built the foundation of military kingship in India. All his achievements were his own. No help, no luck, just talent and effort. Would you like a timeline, a mind map, or a story-style version of his life too? I can explain this in any way that makes it even easier and fun for you. Absolutely. Here's the greatest, deepest, and most detailed summary of the passage about Iltutmish, written in the simplest language, like I'm teaching someone with no background in history. I will explain everything clearly and give you a full understanding of who he was, what he did, and why it mattered. Iltutmish, deepest and simplest summary. 1. Who was Iltutmish? Iltutmish was a Muslim ruler from the early Delhi about 800 years ago. He came from Turkish parts of northern India. He was not born royal. He was once a slave, but rose through hard work and became king. 2. He made Arabic coins. Iltutmish was the first Turkish ruler in India to make coins using only Arabic writing. He introduced a silver coin called the tanka, which weighed about 11 grams. These coins had Arabic words written on them. This showed that Islamic culture and Arabic language were now being used in official things like money. Why it matters. Before him, coins had local languages like Sanskrit or Persian. Iltutmish was saying, this is now an Islamic kingdom and Arabic, the language of Islam, is important. 3. He liked wise people and loved buildings. He appreciated learned men. That means he respected smart scholars and religious teachers. He was also fond of architecture, meaning he liked to build beautiful buildings. He completed the Qutub Minar in Delhi, a tall tower which is still one of the most famous buildings in India. Why it matters. He wanted his kingdom to have strong Islamic education and beautiful Islamic style buildings to show that he was a powerful and cultured Muslim ruler. 4. He was a strict religious Muslim. Iltutmish was very pious. He followed Islam very seriously. He prayed 5 times every day as Islam teaches. He also followed other religious duties like fasting, giving to the poor, and so on. 5. He was harsh to other Muslim groups, Shias. He did not tolerate Muslims who believed differently, especially the Shia Muslims. He followed Sunni Islam, which is the main branch of Islam. Some Shia Muslims in Delhi, called Ismailis, didn't like how he treated them. They tried to rebel and even plotted to kill him. Iltutmish stopped the rebellion and killed many of them. Why it matters? He used force to keep religious unity in his kingdom, but it led to violence and death. He was intolerant. He only accepted his version of Islam. 6. How he treated Hindus. The text says, his treatment towards Hindus could not have been better. But this may be misleading. Writers from that time praised him for being very Islamic and helping Islam. This means he likely continued the policy of religious persecution, mistreatment of non-Muslims, especially Hindus. He tried to please Muslim scholars called ulema by supporting Islam strongly and limiting other religions. Why it matters. Most people in his kingdom were Hindus, but he made sure that Islam stayed on top, and Hindus were treated as second-class citizens. 7. He didn't build civil institutions. He did not create new government systems like schools, law courts, local councils, administrative reforms. Instead, he allowed the old Indian systems to continue. He only changed things at the top level, meaning the main officials and rulers were now Muslim and followed Islamic law. Why it matters. His rule was not about building a new, modern or fair society. He only wanted to keep power, support Islam, and rule through existing Indian systems, with Islamic leadership at the top. Final deep simple summary. Topic: what Iltutmish did. Well, Islam's coins, made silver coins with Arabic writing only, first of their kind in India. scholars and buildings, supported smart Islamic scholars and built the Qutb Minar. Religious practice was a strict Sunni Muslim, prayed 5 times a day, followed all Islamic duties. Towards Shias, was intolerant of Shia Muslims, killed many after a rebellion. Towards Hindus, likely continued religious persecution to please Muslim religious leaders. Government systems did not build new laws or civil systems, kept old Indian ways but with Islamic rule at the top. What we learn from Iltutmish: he was a strong ruler, a strict Muslim, and a symbol of Islamic power in India. He spread Islamic culture but did not create a fair or modern state. He used religion to control and punished those who thought differently. His rule laid the foundation for the Delhi Sultanate, but it was based on religious strength, not civil development. Would you like a story-style version of Iltutmish's life? A visual chart or timeline? A comparison between Iltutmish and other rulers like Qutbuddin or Alauddin Khilji? Let me know. I'm ready to make it even better for you. Absolutely. Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of the passage you shared, written in the simplest and clearest English, as if teaching someone with no prior knowledge. I'll also include extra background information to help you understand everything better. Deep and detailed summary of Iltutmish's achievements in the simplest language. Who was Iltutmish? Iltutmish was a powerful and wise ruler in Indian history. He ruled Delhi a long time ago during the early 1200s. He was part of the Delhi Sultanate, which was a group of Muslim kings who ruled large parts of India from 1206 to 1526. But Iltutmish ruled during the early days of the Delhi Sultanate, a time when it was new, weak, and in danger. What were Iltutmish's 3 biggest achievements? Historians say Iltutmish had 3 great achievements. These were his biggest and most important actions. 1. He saved the kingdom from destruction. When Iltutmish became king, the Delhi Sultanate was like a newborn baby. It was small, weak, and surrounded by many enemies. If Iltutmish hadn't acted wisely and bravely, the kingdom could have been destroyed quickly. He fought and defeated enemies both inside and outside the kingdom. He brought peace and strength. He gave safety to his people. Example, it's like saving a small baby from danger and helping it grow into a strong adult. 2. He made the kingdom legal and official. This is very important. At that time, a kingdom wasn't truly respected unless it was approved by the Khalifa, the highest religious leader in the Muslim world, based in Baghdad. In 1229, the Khalifa al-Mustansir Billah gave Iltutmish a robe of honor. This was a symbol of power and respect. This made Iltutmish the official Islamic ruler. It gave him religious and political power. Now other Muslim rulers and people had to accept him as a real king. Example, like getting an official certificate from the world's top leader saying, you are the true king. 3. He made sure his children became rulers after him. Before Iltutmish, kings didn't always plan who would take over after they died. This caused fights and confusion. Iltutmish did something smart. He chose his own children to become rulers after him. He trained them and prepared them to rule. This created a dynasty, a family of rulers. His daughter, Razia Sultan, even became the first woman ruler of Delhi, which was very rare and brave at that time. Example, like a shop owner passing down the shop to his son or daughter, so the business stays in the family. Why is Iltutmish called the first real king of the Delhi Sultanate? Even though Qutbuddin Aibak ruled before him, Iltutmish is called the first real king of the Delhi Sultanate. Why? Because he saved the kingdom when it was in danger. He made it legal and respected. He built a strong family line of rulers. So he did more than just rule. He built the foundation for the Delhi Sultanate to grow strong and last for many years. His importance among early rulers, 1206 to 1290. Between the years 1206 and 1290, there were 3 dynasties, families of kings that ruled Delhi. 1. Mamluk dynasty, Iltutmish's family. 2. Khilji dynasty. 3. Other early rulers. Among all those early kings, Iltutmish is seen as the most powerful, successful, and wise. He turned a weak kingdom into a respected empire. Final summary. Iltutmish was a great king who ruled Delhi during its early difficult days. He protected the new kingdom from destruction. He made the kingdom officially recognized in the Islamic world by getting the approval of the Khalifa. He made sure his children, like Razia Sultan, would continue ruling after him. Because of these big actions, he is called the first real king of the Delhi Sultanate. He is remembered as one of the best and strongest rulers in early Indian Muslim history. Would you like me to now explain Razia Sultan, Qutbuddin Aibak, or the Delhi Sultanate in the same easy and deep way? Here is a great, deeply detailed summary of the story of Ruknuddin Firoz Shah, 1236, in the simplest and clearest English, like you're learning history for the very first time. Summary: the rise and fall of Ruknuddin Firoz Shah, 1236. 1. Iltutmish, a wise and powerful ruler. Iltutmish was a great king of the Delhi Sultanate, a large Muslim kingdom in northern India. He ruled wisely and made Delhi strong. Like every king, he wanted a good person to take his place after he died. 2. His best son dies early. Iltutmish had many sons, but his eldest son, Nasiruddin Mahmud, was the best, smart, hardworking, and capable. Iltutmish planned for Nasir to become the next king, but in 1229, Nasir died early. This made Iltutmish heartbroken and worried about the future of his kingdom. 3. Other sons were not fit. Iltutmish had other sons, but most were too young. One of them, Ruknuddin Firoz, was lazy, irresponsible, and only cared about pleasure, eating, fun, and spending money. Firoz had no interest in ruling or helping people. He only wanted luxury and comfort. 4. A bold move, choosing Razia as his successor. Iltutmish's daughter, Razia, was smart, brave, and capable, more qualified than any of his sons. So he did something very bold for his time. He chose Razia to be the next ruler of the empire. At that time, it was shocking for people to accept a woman as a ruler, especially in an Islamic kingdom. 5. Razia's name put on coins. To make her position official, Iltutmish told his nobles to support her. Put Razia's name on the silver coins, tanka, a strong sign of authority. But not everyone was happy with this idea. And 6. After Iltutmish's death, his decision ignored. When Iltutmish died in 1236, many nobles and officers rejected his choice of Razia, said a woman should not rule us. They gave the throne to Rukn-ud-Din Firoz, the eldest surviving son of Iltutmish. 7. Firoz becomes king, but was he ready? Firoz became Sultan king, but he cared more about fun than ruling, gave full control to his mother. Shah Turkan wasted money to impress people by giving away gold and holding celebrations. He was not serious about running the kingdom. He only wanted to enjoy life. 8. Shah Turkan, the real power behind the throne. Firoz's mother, Shah Turkan, had been a servant girl in the palace earlier. After her son became king, she took over the government, made all the big decisions, punished and tortured other wives of Iltutmish and their children, tried to remove anyone who could challenge her or her son. 9. Misrule and public anger. The kingdom became badly managed, unfair and cruel under Shah Turkan. People were angry and nobles were upset. Firoz did nothing to fix things. He kept partying and ignoring problems. 10. The end of Firoz's rule. Because of this bad rule, people rebelled. The nobles decided to remove Firoz from the throne. After ruling for just a few months in 1236, Firoz was overthrown. 11. Razia finally becomes ruler. After Firoz was removed, the nobles offered the throne to Razia. She became the first and only woman to sit on the throne of Delhi Sultanate. What we learn from this? 1. A king must choose a worthy successor, not just based on age or gender. 2. Women can lead just as well or better than men. Razia proved this. 3. Power-hungry people like Shah Turkan can ruin an empire. 4. A ruler must serve the people, not just enjoy luxury. 5. People will not accept misrule forever. Even kings can be removed. One sentence final summary. Ruknuddin Firoz became king after Iltutmish's death, but his love for luxury and his cruel mother's misuse of power led to his quick downfall, paving the way for Razia Sultan, the first woman ruler of Delhi. Let me know if you'd like a character map, timeline, or Razia's full story explained. Just like this. Of course, let's go even deeper with clear storytelling, step-by-step analysis, and simple words. I will break down every idea, every cause and effect, and connect all characters and actions like a detailed historical movie explained in slow motion. The true story of Ruknuddin Firoz Shah in the simplest and deepest way. Pun. One who was Iltutmish. Iltutmish was a great ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. He worked hard to build a strong and well-managed empire. He had many children, some sons and a very capable daughter named Razia. He noticed his sons were not strong or wise. Only one son, Nasiruddin Mahmud, was good, but he died early. Razia, his daughter, was smart, brave, and just. So before his death, he decided Razia will be the next ruler after me. That was very unusual, because women were not allowed to be rulers under Islamic law at that time. But Iltutmish trusted her abilities more than any of his sons. 2. After Iltutmish died, what went wrong? After Iltutmish died in 1236, his decision to make Razia the next ruler was ignored by powerful nobles and courtiers. Why? Because many of them didn't want a woman to rule, were afraid they would lose their own power under her. So they chose a son of Iltutmish, named Ruknuddin Firoz. But why Firoz? Because his mother, Shah Turkan, was very clever and powerful. She manipulated the nobles, tricked them, convinced them, and got her son crowned king. 3. Who was Shah Turkan? Shah Turkan was originally a handmaid, a female servant in the royal palace, harem, but she had become a queen by marrying Iltutmish and giving birth to Firoz. Now, with her husband dead and her son on the throne, she wanted to rule the empire herself. So even though Firoz was the official king, she took all the power and acted like the real ruler. 4. Firoz's rule, a total failure. Let's understand why Firoz failed as king. He didn't care about justice, the people, or the kingdom. He just wanted to have fun, riding horses, dancing, music, food, luxury, and parties every day. He threw away money, gave gold to random people, and acted like a spoiled prince. His mother ruled like a dictator. She was cruel to the other wives of Iltutmish. She hurt their children, fearing they may become rival people. Nobles were angry. The army was worried. The empire was falling apart. 5. Rebellions. The kingdom starts breaking. Here's what happened because of their bad rule. A. Outside attack. A strong ruler named Saifuddin Hasan Karluk from Ghazni attacked Indian areas like Sindh and Uch. Why? Because he saw Delhi was weak and this was his chance to take land. B. Inside trouble. Nobles and officers started rebelling. Even Firoz's own brother, Ghiyasuddin, turned against him. He looted royal money from Bengal. He attacked towns in northern India. C. Governors reunite against the king. The governors of important cities, Multan, Lahore, Hansi, and Badaun, joined together. They all wanted to remove Firoz from the throne. They began marching toward Delhi to fight. 6. Razia strikes back, bravely. While all this was happening, Firoz left Delhi to go fight the rebels. His mother stayed in the palace, still controlling things, but the people were tired and angry. Then Razia did something bold and clever. She came out wearing red robes, a symbol of emergency and revolution. It was Friday, the day of big public prayers. She gave a speech to the people. She reminded everyone her father had chosen her to be ruler. Shah Turkan was a cruel, dangerous woman. The country was falling apart under her and Firoz. The people cheered. The army officers stood with her. Her words gave hope. 7. Razia becomes sultan. While Firoz was still outside the city, the people and army put Razia on the throne. She was now the first woman to rule Delhi. Shah Turkan was captured and thrown into a dark prison dungeon. Firoz returned, but it was too late. He was arrested. Soon after, in November 1236, he was put to death. His reign had lasted only 7 months, a short rule full of waste, mistakes, and misrule. Final thoughts, what we learn from this? Lessons. 1. Power gained by greed or trickery will not last. 2. A king or queen must be wise, caring, and brave. 3. Even a woman, if she has ability and courage, can lead a nation. 4. A leader who ignores his duty will lose the respect of his people and his army. 5. Justice, honesty, and public support are more powerful than titles and... Would you like... Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, detailed, yet very simple summary of the story of Razia Sultana from 1236 to 1240, in a way that anyone can understand clearly, even with no background in history. This is like having the world's best teacher explain it slowly step by step. Summary of Razia's rule, 1236 to 1240, in simple words and great detail. 1. Who was Razia? Razia, also called Razia Sultana, was the first woman to become ruler of Delhi, a big and powerful city in India. She ruled from 1236 to 1240 AD, just 4 years, but they were full of important events. In those days, only men were rulers. So it was a huge deal when a woman became sultan, ruler. 2. How did she become sultan? Her father, Iltutmish, had been a powerful sultan of Delhi. He saw that Razia was smart and capable, even more than his sons. So, before dying, he chose her to be the next ruler. But when he died, some nobles and leaders ignored his wish and put her brother Ruknuddin Firoz on the throne. Firoz ruled badly. He was lazy and did not care about the people. The people and nobles of Delhi got angry. They removed him and made Razia the ruler in 1236. 3. What problems did she face? Even though she was made ruler, many powerful men were angry. Why? Because she was a woman. Because they had not been asked when she was made ruler. Because they were jealous or wanted power for themselves. Especially the governors of the areas of Badon, Multansi, Lahore. These men did not accept her rule and became her enemies. Also, Nizam ul-Mulk Muhammad Junaidi, the wazir, chief minister, of the old ruler, joined the rebels. He had a lot of influence and power. 4. The enemies joined together confederacy. All these enemies forces and formed a group called a confederacy. Their goal, remove Razia and take control of Delhi. They came with their armies and surrounded Delhi. This is called a siege, when enemies block a city from all sides. 5. Razia was in trouble. She was in her capital city, Delhi, with fewer soldiers. Her enemies were many and strong. It looked like she had no chance to win by fighting. But Razia was very smart, brave. 6. She used diplomacy, smart tricks, not war. Razia didn't fight directly. She used diplomacy, which means using clever plans, smart talking, and tricks to win without war. She started spreading rumors, talking secretly, and creating distrust among the enemy leaders. She made them suspicious of each other. That governor wants to take your land. He might betray you. Soon, the rebel leaders began to argue and fight with each other. 7. Her enemies broke apart. The confederacy, enemy group, fell apart. They were no longer united. Some fought each other, some left, and the group became weak. This was exactly what Razia wanted. 8. Razia attacks when they're weak. As soon as the enemies were disorganized, Razia attacked. She captured 2 rebel governors and had them killed. The wazir Nizam ul-Mulk ran away to escape. He died hiding in the Surma Hills, a mountain area far away from Delhi. 9. What this showed about Razia. This short episode shows many important things about Razia. She was not just lucky. She was smart, strategic, and strong. In a world of powerful men, she stood her ground. She didn't rely only on war. She used cleverness and planning to defeat stronger enemies. She earned respect, even from those who didn't want her as a ruler. What happened next after 1240? This summary ends in her victory over the Confederates, but her rule still faced more challenges later, especially from more revolts and jealous nobles. She even had to marry one of the rebel leaders later to survive politically. Eventually, in 1240, Razia was defeated and killed, but her short rule still became famous in Indian history. She is remembered as the first and only woman Sultan of Delhi, a symbol of courage and intelligence, someone who broke barriers in a time when women had no power at all. Final summary in just a few lines. Razia became ruler of Delhi in 1236. Some people supported her, but many powerful governors and a minister didn't like her. They all joined together and tried to defeat her. She was surrounded and looked weak, but she used smart tricks to divide her enemies. When they became weak, she attacked and won. This showed that she was not just brave, she was smart too. She ruled with strength in a time when women weren't even allowed to rule. Would you like a timeline or a map to go with this next? Or want me to explain why her reign ended in 1240? I can explain that just as clearly and simply. Here is a great, deep, and very detailed summary of the passage, written in the simplest and easiest way, step by step, with all important points included and clearly explained. Detailed summary of Razia's rule and challenges. 1. Razia becomes a powerful ruler. Razia, daughter of Iltutmish, became the first woman ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Even though many people didn't support a woman ruling, she proved herself through victory. Her triumph brought her respect, prestige, and made her rule more secure. She takes full control of the government. Razia reshaped her court by giving important jobs, high offices, to new people she trusted. She appointed Khwaja Muhazzabuddin as her wazir, chief minister. She gave new jobs to governors, regional leaders all across her empire. All of Hindustan, from Lakanati, Bengal in the east, to Tibal, Sindh in the west, accepted her as queen. Even Bengal, which had rebelled earlier, came back under her control. So her empire was large and united, and she ruled it confidently and effectively. 3. Her success creates new problems. Razia's strength and confidence worried the Turkish nobles, powerful men who had long controlled the Delhi court. These nobles didn't like her trying to be an absolute monarch, meaning a ruler with full independent power. They expected a weak ruler they could control, not a queen who gave commands and made decisions herself. They thought only they had the right to rule and felt Razia was taking their power away. So even though she was ruling well, she created many enemies by taking power away from the old nobles. 4. Razia breaks traditional gender roles. Razia rejected the rules for how women were supposed to behave. She stopped living in seclusion, not hiding in the harem. She dressed like a man, rode horses in public, and ruled openly in court, just like male kings. She led military campaigns, commanded armies, and showed herself as a strong warrior queen. This behavior shocked and offended the conservative and orthodox Muslims, especially the older Turkish military leaders who had never seen a woman act like this before. So Razia's modern and bold ways of ruling were seen as scandalous and unacceptable by many powerful men of her time. 5. Conflict over Yakut, an Abyssinian officer. Razia promoted an African officer named Jamal-ud-Din Yakut, who was in charge of the royal horses. Many people believed she gave him too much importance. Some even gossiped that they had a close personal relationship, though this is not proven. But in truth, Razia may have chosen him because she wanted to weaken the Turkish nobles' monopoly over the court by giving power to outsiders and loyal supporters. So, by trusting Yakut and promoting him, Razia made the Turkish nobles even more angry and jealous. Final point, her strength was also her weakness. Razia was a bold, intelligent, and capable ruler. She ruled with firmness, made her own decisions, and led like a true king. But these very qualities made her enemies. She was too powerful for the nobles. She was too independent for the orthodox religious leaders. She was too bold for a society that expected women to stay quiet and hidden. All these tensions slowly built up and led to her downfall later. In short, Razia was one of the most remarkable rulers in Indian history. She tried to rule with full power, just like a man, in a time when women were expected to stay silent and hidden. She was successful, but this success made many powerful men angry, especially the Turkish nobles who felt threatened by her actions. She also broke social and religious rules, which made things worse for her. Eventually, the very things that made her a great queen also brought about her fall. Would you like a timeline of her rise and fall, or a story format to remember this better? Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of the story you just learned, written in the simplest English with full clarity so that anyone can understand it, even someone with at all. Detailed summary of the fall of Razia, Part 1. Who was Razia? Razia, also known as Razia Sultana, was the first woman ruler of the Delhi Sultanate in India. She was smart and capable, a good leader, loved by her army and people, brave like a warrior, someone who ruled on her own terms, not under others' control. But many powerful people in her kingdom did not like that she was a woman ruler. Who were these people? They were emirs, important noblemen, and maliks, governors or chiefs. These men had powerful positions in the kingdom, wanted a king they could control, did not want a strong queen who made her own decisions. So they became her enemies and made a secret plan to remove her from power. This plan is called a conspiracy. The leaders of the conspiracy, the main people who planned against Razia were 1. Ikhtiyar-ud-Din Aitigin. He was the Queen's top palace officer, very Hajib. He was close to Razia but turned against her. 2. Malik al-Tunia. He was the governor of Bathinda, a strong and rich place. He had his own army and joined the plan. 3. Kabir Khan. He was the governor of Lahore, another big and powerful city. He also hated Razia's rule and helped in the plot. Why did they plot against her? These men did not want women to rule, wanted someone weak who would obey them, felt jealous of Razia's power, didn't like how she gave high positions to people based on talent, not family or background, so they planned to remove her quietly without fighting her army directly. Their secret plan. They knew Razia's army loved her and that she was a great warrior, so they thought, we can't fight her in Delhi. She is too strong there. Let's trick her into coming far away from the capital. Then we will trap her and finish her. So as part of the plan, Kabir Khan pretended to start a rebellion in his province. Razia's quick and brave response. When Razia heard about the rebellion, she did not panic. She prepared her army. She quickly marched to Lahore to stop the revolt. In battle, Razia defeated Kabir Khan. He lost badly and tried to run away, but he had bad luck. Mongols blocked Kabir Khan. While running away, Kabir Khan reached the Chenab River, but he saw that Mongols, a dangerous enemy group, were camped near the river. He knew if he went forward, he would be killed by the Mongols, so he had no choice. He turned back and surrendered to Razia, and he did it unconditionally. This means he asked for no favors, no protection. He just gave up. Razia returns victorious after winning the battle. Razia returned to Delhi. Her position looked strong again. She had shown she could defeat even her own governors if they rebelled. But this was not the end of her troubles. This victory was only in one part of the larger conspiracy. The other plotters, especially Malik al-Tunia, were still waiting to carry out the rest of their plan. In simple words, the whole story so far. 1. Razia was the first woman to become the ruler of Delhi. 2, she was strong and brave, but some powerful men didn't like her. 3's men, Ategin, Altunia, and Kabir Khan, planned to remove her. 4, they didn't want to fight her directly because she was too powerful. 5, so Kabir Khan started a fake rebellion in a far-off place to trick her into coming. 6, Razia quickly marched there and defeated him. 7, Kabir Khan tried to run, but Mongols blocked his path, so he surrendered. 8, Razia came back to Delhi as a winner. 9, but the danger was still not over. Her enemies were still planning. Would you like me to now explain what happened next, how Malik Altunia betrayed her, and what finally led to her tragic end? It's a very important and emotional part of the story. Would you like me to continue? Here is a deepest, most detailed and simple summary of the entire passage. I will break it down step by step, explaining all important events, reasons, people and consequences in the simplest and clearest way for full understanding. Main people involved. 1. Queen Razia, first and only woman to rule the Delhi Sultanate. Strong, brave, but many nobles, important officials didn't want a woman to rule. 2. Conspirators, a group of powerful nobles who didn't like Razia. They wanted to rule the throne and control the kingdom themselves. 3. Altunia, governor of Bathinda, a city, at first part of the group against Razia, but later helped her, avenged her. 4. Yakut, an Abyssinian who was Razia's trusted helper and very loyal to Razia, was disliked by the nobles, partly because of his race and close relationship with the queen. 5. Bahram, son of Sultan Iltutmish and Razia's half-brother. The conspirators made him king after removing Razia. Detailed step-by-step summary. 1. Rebels don't stop after first failure. Razia came back to power after a previous problem, but her enemies still wanted to remove her. They were stubborn and didn't give up. Just 2 weeks, a fortnight after she returned, they started another rebellion. 2. Altunia joins the rebellion. This time, awful city ruler joins the fight against Razia. He was friends with the Lord Chamberlain, a very high official, showing this was a well-planned and powerful conspiracy. Altunia raised the standard of revolt, which means he became the leader of the fight. 3. Razia marches to fight back, despite the heat. Even though it was very hot weather, Razia bravely took her army and marched to fight the rebels. This shows her courage and leadership. 4. The enemies planned smartly and killed Yakut. This time, the conspirators were smarter and more organized. When Razia reached Bathinda, some rebel agents attacked and killed Yakut, her trusted friend and officer. This weakened Razia's position badly because she lost an important supporter. Her army got confused. She might have become mentally upset or lost confidence. 5. Razia is captured and imprisoned. After Yakut's death and the chaos, the rebels caught Razia and put her in prison in April 1240. Now the queen was no longer in power. 6. Bahram is made the new king. The conspirators brought back Bahram, son of the old king Iltutmish. They made him sit on the throne and become the new ruler. The enemies then returned to Delhi, the capital, feeling successful. They had defeated the crown, meaning they beat the queen and took control of the kingdom. 7. Altunia feels betrayed. After helping the conspirators, Altunia expected a reward, maybe an important post in the new government. But he didn't get what he wanted, so he became angry and upset, disaffected. 8. Altunia changes sides, helps Razia. Angry with Bahram, Altunia made a new plan for revenge. He freed Razia from prison in August 1240. They got married, possibly for political reasons, to join their forces. Together, they marched to Delhi to fight Bahram and take back the throne. 9. They fail in battle. Razia and Altunia's army lost the battle against Bahram's forces. They were forced to run away and go back towards Bathinda. Makkah 10. Their army leaves them and they are killed. As they retreated, ran away, their soldiers deserted them, left them all alone. Near a place called Kaithal, they were murdered by Hindu robbers on 13th of October 1240. Their dream of regaining the throne ended in tragedy and death. Deep meaning and lessons. Politics was dangerous during those times. Even kings and queens could be betrayed or killed. Razia was a brave and intelligent woman, but many people couldn't accept a woman as ruler. Jealousy, racism, and power hunger, e.g. dislike for Yakut, greed of nobles, played a big part in Razia's downfall. Altunia's change of heart shows how people can switch sides in politics when they don't get what they want. Even though Razia was strong, she couldn't survive because she was surrounded by enemies, and her own people abandoned her in the end. Final simple summary in one paragraph. Queen Razia bravely fought her enemies, but a group of powerful nobles secretly plotted against her. Altunia, the ruler of Bathinda, joined this plan and helped defeat her. Her trusted helper Yakut was killed and Razia was thrown into jail. The nobles made Bahram the new king. But when Altunia didn't get the reward he hoped for, he freed Razia from prison, married her, and tried to fight back. Sadly, their army lost, their soldiers left them, and both were killed by robbers. Razia's rule ended in betrayal, loss, and tragedy. If you want, I can also create a timeline of events, compare Razia to other rulers, explain why her being a woman made her rule more difficult. Just let me know. Sure. Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of the passage about Razia, written in the simplest and clearest way, perfect for someone with no background knowledge. This will help you understand everything fully, step by step. Detailed summary of Razia and her rule. Who was Razia? Razia Sultan was the only Muslim woman in history who ever sat on the throne of Delhi as a ruler. This was very unusual and special because during that time almost all rulers were men and women were not allowed to rule or lead armies. Yet, Razia became the queen and proved herself to be an amazing leader. How long did she rule? Her time as ruler, called her reign, was very short, only 3.5 years and 6 months. This might seem little to do anything big, but she made a huge impact during this short time. Even in such a short period, she did better than many other rulers who ruled for much longer. What made Razia special? Razia was very different from other rulers of her time. Here's why. 1. She was brave. She was not afraid to fight battles, face enemies, or make bold decisions. 2. She was energetic. She worked very hard and was always active. She didn't sit around lazily, she took action. 3. She was a good fighter and army leader. She could ride horses, lead soldiers, and fight in wars just like the male rulers. She was both a soldier and a general, someone who leads an army. 4. She was very smart in politics. She understood how to deal with powerful people, make good plans, and outsmart her enemies. She was good at political intrigue. This means she could handle tricky situations and power games. Diplomacy. This means she knew how to talk politely and cleverly with other kings and leaders to keep peace or win support. What did she achieve? Even though she ruled for a short time, Razia did great things. 1. She brought back respect to the Turkish rulers in India. The rulers of Delhi at that time were of Turkish origin, but their power and respect had become weak. Razia worked hard to bring back their honor and strength. 2. She made the king-queen's power stronger. In those days, nobles called emirs and maliks were rich and powerful people who often controlled the ruler. But Razia changed that. She made sure that the ruler was in charge. 3. She forced the nobles to obey her. She was the first Turkish ruler in Delhi who was to make the nobles listen to her and follow her orders. Even her father, Iltutmish, was shy to act as king in front of powerful nobles. But Razia was bold and fearless. What about other rulers in her family? Razia belonged to the dynasty of Iltutmish. A dynasty is like a ruling family where power passes from father to son or daughter. But other rulers from this family, whether they came before her or after her, were not strong in personality. They didn't have her bravery, her clever mind, her strong will, her leadership skills, so she was the only one in her family who became truly powerful and respected. Final thoughts. Razia Sultan was a rare gem in history. In a world where men ruled and women stayed in the background, she stood bold and brave, proved her strength, and ruled like a true monarch. She fought like a warrior, ruled like a king, was smart like a top advisor, and had the heart of a lion. She was the first and last in her family to rise so high, only by her own talent and strength, not by birth or help from others. Why is she important to remember? Because Razia shows us that great leadership has no gender. Even a short time can be used to do great things. Courage, intelligence, and strength of character matter more than power, position, or wealth. Let me know if you'd like a story-style version or more about how she lost power or what challenges she faced. Here's a detailed summary of the passage about Razia Sultan's simplest and clearest English, with deep understanding and full explanation of every important point. Summary of Razia Sultan's qualities and downfall. 1. Who was Razia Sultan? Razia Sultan was the first and only Muslim woman to sit on the throne of Delhi. She ruled in the 13th century for a short time, but is a very capable and talented ruler. 2. How did historian Minhajuddin Siraj describe her? Minhajuddin Siraj was a famous historian during that time. He wrote high praise for Razia and said she had all the best qualities a great ruler should have. Wise and clever, sagacious, she made smart decisions. Fair and just, she treated people equally. Kind and generous, she helped people and was good to her subjects. Supporter of education and knowledge, she helped scholars, teachers, and poets. Defender of justice, she gave fair judgment. Loved her people, she cared deeply about her subjects like a mother. Skilled in war, she could fight battles and lead soldiers. She had every single quality that a great king should have. In short, she was intelligent, brave, fair, kind, and powerful. Everything a perfect ruler should be. 3. Then why did she fail or fall from power? Even with all her talents, Razia lost her throne early. The historian sadly asked, what was the use of all her great qualities if people didn't let her succeed? This means she was great, but her greatness was not enough to save her. 4. Why did she lose power? People say the reason was because she was a woman. Yes, that did play a part, because many Turkish nobles didn't like the idea of being ruled by a woman. But the real reason was deeper. The Turkish nobles, they were powerful army leaders and ministers. They wanted a weak ruler who would listen to them. They wanted to keep the real power in their own hands. But Razia wanted to be a strong ruler, did not want to be controlled by anyone. She tried to make herself the center of power, put up to the nobles, and tried to rule on her own terms. That made the nobles angry. They joined together and removed her from the throne. So what was the main cause of her fall? The main reason, not that she was a woman. The main reason was that the nobles didn't want a strong ruler. Her being a woman only made it easier for them to turn against her. Final conclusion. Razia Sultan was one of the greatest rulers of her time. She had all the skills, qualities, and heart of a true leader. But the power-hungry nobles didn't like her strength. They wanted control, and she didn't let them have it. Because of that, they removed her. Her gender, being a woman, was only a secondary reason. The real reason was that she would not be a puppet. Would you like a memory trick, summary poem, or a timeline of her life next to help you remember this better?